So, welcome to Cliff Empire, which is a game I've been playing. Uh, I was just going to go over the history of this little place because I really liked the world building aspect of what I ended up with here. Um, so you're going to have to forgive me because I'm probably not going to edit this for any stuttering or mistakes that I do. But let's go over it. So this was sort of the central city. That was the first one. Then these other two cities came in later. They had this really interesting financial deal going where both of these cities uh, basically gave loans to the center city so that it could develop itself more quickly. And so you'll see that there's these orchards here, but this whole area back here used to just be farms. And so this city would sell all of its food to these other cities. And this one specialized in power. So like this city can't actually power itself. It can now, actually. Later on in the game, that we have the much more powerful like batteries that we can get from down there. But it used to be that the majority of the power that the city got was from the other two cities. So it would buy batteries from this city and then sell it food in return. And that's because it's a lot easier to set up power. And like this place has much better power. So all this area here, and even parts of this up here, all used to be windmills and solar panels. Um, but now the city is only somewhat provides power because all the cities are kind of self-sustaining in their own ways now. But yeah, this city used to provide power. We'll get into each of the different city specifics in a moment, but just the overall structure. Anyways, once it did that, once this city built up, it also built up. It also extracted the majority of the mass. Uh, sorry, also extracted the majority of the mass, and it produces most of the luxury goods and advanced goods. Um, so this city was the major like production center, and it also built like the high-tech buildings early on and all that stuff. This was the third city. This was the second city to come in, and when it started, because it had so much uranium deposits. These uranium deposits actually go down. So this used to have 100% uranium. Um, so you can see here these nuclear reactors, right? And then the uranium miners here and in the water. It's only the only place that you can get fish as well. So this was, when this started, it was just this town hall, the supply center, a fishing dock, two I think at the time, uranium extractors. Now there's three. And just nuclear power plants so that it too could provide power. It also extracts the majority of the water, though this first city over here, Split, also extracted a significant portion of water early on. But now this place provides most of it. Anyway, so these two cities did provide power and water, and they bought food back from the main city. And once this main city was able to pay off its loans, which took a while because it was in debt, lots of money. But it then bought, the food and the worked goods trade favorably, so it was able to pay off its loans to the other two cities, which were then able to themselves develop. And then because the city was making so much money, it was able to give loans to both the other cities. So it gave loans like 4 times as large to the other cities so that they could develop. And so this city has sort of a metropolis going on here now. And it makes wine and brew spirits and stuff. And that's what it focused on was vineyards and wine stuff. This city's not actually as interesting as the other one, but basically it basically encroached on all the power stuff as it was less needed that power. So it did like some industrial stuff and built this whole metropolis with like large offices in it and stuff. So though this place is still the largest, and because this place had so many people in it, they were immigrating and working in the other cities. Um, this city actually has as many people as the main one. It's just a bigger island, I guess. But so when this city first was founded, right, this strip of ecology, these parks here, right, I needed people and I needed a way to offset the penalty for building so much nuclear production. So this row of parks here were built, and there was all this. All this wasn't here then. All this was just like high density housing, like this housing here, which is the highest density housing. So like this was all high density housing. And over time it's been replaced with like banks and office buildings and stuff. But this park center has always been here. And I just really like that idea that like they built these nuclear power plants and they built this park and then the workers were in this high density housing. And as more docks came in, and then when this was the last city to get a bridge connection. And so when it got the bridge connection, it built these very nice like this is also high density housing, but it upgraded in a different direction to look nice. And so it has this nice like entrance to the city and these parks to offset the ecology loss from the all the heavy industry which is over here. Um, so like and so like some of the interesting like trading going on here is because it's the only place that produces fish. You can't get enough fish across this bridge and then over here to this one and then trade it over here for this city to have enough fish to eat like for vitamins. So to move all that fish, I actually built a spaceship that flies up into space to then come over here to drop off fish because it can't go through this city fast enough. This is also where most of the uranium's dug. Uh, so I don't know. I just found that really interesting, and like I like this park off on the edge here. When I got the cliff sides, right, most of the cities used it to become as independent as possible. So this one added more power because that was sort of its job still is that power, but then it took in a lot more housing and it started adding like salad farms and its own vineyards and stuff like that. Um, and really these vertical farms. So this city's now also able to produce all of its own food now, right? Whereas this city over here still imports some of it. Um, yeah, that's most of the interesting stuff, I guess. I just like this city. This city's history isn't as interesting. Like this half has always been the industry section, and this half has always been the city section, with this here being, this all used to be a breadbasket. This had the highest soil fertility, so like all of this used to be food, and like the industry is seeped in, and the people have seeped in over here. So, anyways, I like when I'm playing this game, it's really interesting to sort of think about the world building aspects of like, you know, these like high density housing and these parks built, and then the whole point of this place is to pull this nuclear fuel out and fill it up here. And so I like to think about like the little stories of each of the different districts that they have. Like, you know, the this park here on the edge, all this fancy housing here, basically. And then like there's these two universities on either side of this port here. Um, or like this is like all the high density like medical and science engineering, and then this is like all the office and entertainment stuff. And then there's like a second little like smaller downtown over here. Um, this one's sides are not as interesting, uh, but yeah. So yeah, no, I really like this game for the world building aspects. I just thought that was a really interesting exercise how that sort of developed over time. Like this place up here is just such a mishmash of just whatever I needed to support the power generation. Um, so, like you can sort of imagine like this city like just sort of sprawled as necessary to support just generating as much power as possible and extracting some groundwater. But now like these are all parks and they're all nice and um, yeah. So yeah, that is my current playthrough. I'm basically at the end game, so but yeah, that's my current playthrough of Cliff Empire. Um, yeah. Oh, I guess I could show them in motion for a moment. Right, all the drones going to work in the city. You can actually like walk around your cities. It's not very good, but you can. Um, I forget where I left that camera. I'll show that in a second. Those guys are going to build things down there. It's just one of the last unlocks you get. This one has little inefficient. I've been thinking about demolishing this park, but I just really like that park and like the history behind it, and I've been thinking about demolishing it to put a supply depot there. But this used to be just these three nuclear generators, and I had to pack another one in there. Like this place only barely is able to self-sustain right now. It used to provide like a massive amount of the power. So if I swap into first person view, where am I? Yeah, so these are the docks, right? It's a Zeppelin for tourists, which I can get in apparently. I didn't know I could do that. Um, right, and these are like all this. This is all the housing, right? And look out at the landscape. Oh, and this is the nuclear facility area. Just walking through nuclear facilities, no big deal. I mean, I could walk through walls, so it's whatever. Let's see if I can find a good view of the other cities. I know you can get in the trains and ride them. Right, so now we're entering like downtown. So this is like the second downtown. It's like the nice area of town, right? Where people come in first. Right? All these nice buildings. Anyways, so that's my empire, my Cliff Empire. Thanks for watching.